Welcome! Thank you for joining us for today's lesson. This is part of a 13-lesson series brought to you by the Food Trust Nutrition Educators. The Food Trust works to ensure that everyone has access to affordable, nutritious food and the information to make healthy choices. In this series, we'll be covering topics such as how to shop at a farmer's market, stretching your food dollars, storing fruits and vegetables, and more. Join us every other week as we share nutrition information from MyPlate, as well as tips and tricks to eating more healthy food at every meal. Each bi-weekly lesson will be followed by a recipe featuring a seasonal ingredient you can find at your local farmer's market or grocery store. Meet our nutrition educators, who you'll get to know through our lessons or recipe demonstrations. We're excited to have you with us. Thanks again for joining us. Please fill out our anonymous survey at the end of this video so that we can find out more about who we're reaching and how to serve our audience best. We hope you come back for our next lesson. See you then!
Hello, welcome. My name is Paul and I'm the educator at the Food Trust. The Food Trust is a SNAP-Ed-funded nonprofit organization that focuses on farmers markets, nutrition education, and food access all around Greater Philadelphia. Today we'll be learning about MyPlate. And before we begin, I want you guys to look at this poster right beside me and think about a time where you ever saw this before. Maybe you attended a person's lesson, or maybe your child, if you have a child at home, has seen it before, or maybe you've seen it on a food label. Well, MyPlate was created in 2010 by scientists and nutritionists, and you may remember a thing called the food pyramid before. Well, they changed it because we don't eat off pyramids, we eat off plates, and so the MyPlate began. So the reason why MyPlate became the new model was to give a more accurate and relatable representation of how we should eat. And hopefully after this lesson, you'll learn more about the food groups that are on MyPlate and how to create a more balanced and healthful meal. Okay, so now we're gonna start with the biggest section on MyPlate, and I'm talking about fruits and vegetables. So when you plan your meal, you always wanna start off with fruits and vegetables because it takes up half of the plate. So we want you guys to make sure that when you're making a plate, that half of your plate is filled with fruits and vegetables. So now I want you to think about the benefits you can get by eating fruits and vegetables. So take a moment to think about any benefits. Well, I'm glad you thought of some things about fruits and vegetables that can benefit you nutritionally. The vitamins and minerals are probably the most important things you want to think about when it comes to fruits and vegetables. And also you want to think about something called fiber. Now, fiber comes in soluble and insoluble form, which can help with your digestive system and keep your heart healthy. All right, our next group are the grains. And remember I was talking about the fiber before with the fruits and vegetables? You also get fiber from our grains. And one of the great things about grains is that we want you to at least have half of your grains that you've eaten to be whole. And what that means is that a grain actually has three distinct parts: a bran, a germ, and an endosperm. And if it has all three of those things, it's considered a whole grain. An example of a whole grain would be whole grain bread or brown rice. So as you're having half your grains to be whole, you want to make sure that you're getting all the nutrients available with that. So that includes fiber and also some other minerals and vitamins as well. So when you're thinking about those grains and you're making a dish, just think about ways you can incorporate whole grains instead. So instead of choosing the white rice, you can choose the brown rice. Instead of white bread, you can choose the whole grain bread. These are just some easy ways that you can incorporate whole grains to make sure that you're fulfilling your body and getting those nutrients that comes with this important food group. Our next food group is actually also special because you can get this source from two different places. You get it from plant sources or animal sources. So proteins, if you think of animal sources, you think of stuff like meat or your animal products like chicken or hamburger, beef, pork, those type of things. You also get it from plant sources such as beans and nuts and seeds, what we call legumes. So these two sources are also great because they provide a lot of protein that helps us to build muscle and all other things in our body that we need protein with. And also, if you eat nuts, seeds, and beans, you get fiber as well. So remember we talked about fiber in our grains, fruits, and vegetables. You also get it from plant sources and protein. Our last food group of the day is dairy. So dairy includes our milks, our cheeses, and our yogurts. And the great thing about dairy is that we get a very important nutrient from dairy, and that includes calcium. So in addition to getting calcium from dairy, you actually can get calcium from dark leafy greens that we'll see in our vegetable groups as well. But we mainly get it from our dairy. So dairy adds an abundance of nutrients, and calcium helps with bone growth and integrity. So that's one of the great reasons why dairy is also included in our 5 food groups on MyPlate. So now we're going to use our MyPlate to plan an entire meal. So we're going to make sure that our meal is being balanced and it provides all the nutrients that we need for the day. And that's one of the reasons why MyPlate is such a great model and tool to help build meals. So today we're going to make a sandwich. So one of the most important ingredients you need of a sandwich is something to hold it together with. And yes, I am talking about bread. So bread will be part of the grains group. We have a great whole wheat bread here. Next, I want to make sure I have some protein. I think I'm going to use turkey as my protein because who likes turkey sandwiches? I do. So we're going to put our turkey here in our protein. Now I want to think of some dairy. Let's see. So remember we talked about dairy being our milks and cheeses and yogurts. So I think the best option in that group would be our cheese. So I'm going to use a nice Swiss cheese here. But I need to make sure that I get some fruits and vegetables because I want those added minerals and vitamins and fiber. So for our fruit, I'm actually going to use a tomato. And last but not least, we have our vegetables. Now, many people may think that vegetables is part of the hardest things about making a full balanced meal, but actually it's very simple because lettuce or spinach, what I'm going to use, is a wonderful example of how we can incorporate vegetables in our everyday meals. And look at there, we just made a complete, full balanced meal from MyPlate with all 5 food groups, and that was very simple. Thank you once again. My name is Paul, and I'm with the Food Trust as a SNAP Ed educator, and I will see you guys very soon.